Good evening. You're listening to Ripon Common Sense Radio. Thanks for joining us live. The broadcast will begin in just a few moments. If you are listening on YouTube, please say hello in the chat or the video comments below. The program will begin shortly.
Ripon Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt sign.
Good evening and welcome to the second Tuesday of the month, our live broadcast of a show we call Common Sense Council, where we observe the local happenings of the city of Ripon and see how it connects to your own backyard. Good evening, everyone. My name is AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Give yourselves a round of applause for being smart enough to be here. I am looking forward to tonight's broadcast. That is for certain. I can tell you this much. It is going to be an interesting evening, never to say the last. If you've paid attention to the Common Sense Council broadcasts that we do, we've been following the regular scheduled council meetings for the city of Ripon, Wisconsin, where we are home based. And this is important because Ripon is not unlike any other small community or large community for that matter. And the things that happen in our backyard most likely are happening in your backyard as well. Hi, Sandy B. She says, hi, AJ. It's great to see you, Sandy B. So let's take a look at the alert that we put out this week regarding the Common Sense Council broadcast, because there was a little bit of an awkward situation, so to speak. Tonight is normally a regular scheduled council meeting, but unbeknownst to several people in the community, there is a different agenda tonight. So if you were actually planning on attending the council meeting for regular council meeting for any discussion related to the proposed 2022 city budget and tax levy, you should pay close attention if you're local, because according to the city of Ripon, they put out a special notice of a special common council meeting that is set to begin Tuesday, November 9th at 6:30 p.m. All right. And this is to discuss and hold a public hearing for the proposed 2020 budget and tax levy, as well as adoption of the 2022 budget and tax levy. And they expect to adjourn by 6:55. And then they're going to stand again for the Pledge of Allegiance and call to order and roll call one more time at the regular scheduled time at 7 p.m. So this is going to be interesting. Of course, we never know whether or not the Ripon channel is actually going to bring us a live feed from within the room. It doesn't appear so at this point in time. We do not see any live broadcasts scheduled as of the moment, and we are about 8 minutes away from this particular special meeting. Now, you can find out where your local city council is going to meet and when by visiting your own city website, which is something that we encourage you to do, to pay attention to what's happening locally, and then see if these same types of things are happening in your own backyard. So again, tonight, according to the budget that was the agenda, that was published on the Friday last week, they're going to have this special common council meeting. Some people say it's a secret meeting, but it is a public hearing, and it's supposed to call to order at 6:30 p.m. And they're going to be discussing a proposed 2022 budget, which ultimately is included in this entire 130 page document of the city of Ripon's proposed budget. Now, there are some interesting things in this budget, which I can tell you, I would, if I were in Ripon tonight, I would definitely be at this meeting, and I would question some of these things and hopefully get answers before it's actually approved. One of the things that you'll see here, and if I can zoom out just a little bit so you can see everything, there we go, is there is quite a difference in the administrative services when it comes to administration. And let's see, let's go down here. Where did I see that? This is a fun category here too. Elections, right? Elections. This is a real fun category. If you look at elections, there is part-time salaries that's going to go up 150%. And 77.78% is going to go up in advertising. Apparently, they need to advertise the elections. And then they've got some small equipment, another raise, an increase of 11.76 overall, increasing just the elections section of the budget by 97.04% change. Now, let's dive into what are we buying, right? What are we getting? What's new? In the operating supplies, in the small equipment category, the second item down for $100. Do you see what I see? Do you see what I see? It's a hotspot. It's a hotspot for $100. I don't know what election needs a hotspot, but apparently the city of Ripon does. Here's a really interesting number under city administrative services. Professional services is going to go up 1,185%, 0.12%. That's right. You heard me right. That's 1,185.12% increase in change overall changes the administrative services 54.76. Questionable items all across here. Pretty standard stuff through this the police department and the fire department. But then we get down here to this crazy one. Well, that's the Department of Public Works is crazy too for a different reason. But where is the other one I was looking at? Oh, we've got a call from Rob Wichow. Rob, you are live on the air. How are you? I do not hear him. So let's just check and see the Ripon channel. Oh, are you there? Hello? Yo, you're live on the air, Rob. Are you going to the city council meeting this evening?
I'm already here with bells on, fella.
You're already there. We are waiting for a live broadcast to come in. I'm assuming they're going to call to order in like 2 minutes. But we do not get a feed from YouTube, which is very, very interesting. So we're going to continue to watch for that, and hopefully that's going to come in for us so we can observe this important discussion regarding the tax levy. Now, as I'm sharing with you, down here in this particular line item budget for cable TV, this is the organization that is responsible for bringing us these live council meetings, especially to YouTube. But you can see in the Common Council that they are paying an increase of 226% in publications, dues, and subscriptions. I'm assuming that that's probably to better the equipment that they're using. Now, this one is a funny line here, this equipment line. If you look closely at it, you'll notice that in the past 3 years, from 2020 to 2021,
AJ.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to interrupt you. I think trying to get started here.
All right. So we'll let you get started.
I'm going to hit video.
Okay. We're gonna get a video from Rob at this point. We're going to be able to observe the room, and I can give you a play-by-play. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to broadcast what I can see from Rob, but I will give you a play-by-play as it is actually preparing the video image. Now let's put a little faith in this cable TV because they've definitely got an increase in the budget to be able to bring us these council meetings. But as of the moment, I do not see where it is live here yet. By the way, let's look at this budget a little closer. Oh, here it is. I see it. It's live. Here we go. So we are going to tap in now to the live. Rob, we've got a live feed. I'm going to let you go. We've got a live feed, Rob. I'm going to let you go.
6:30, I will call the special common council meeting to order.
Let's pay
roll call,
attention.
please.
Mr. Schrader.
Here.
Mrs. Schatzinger.
Here.
Mr. Hanson.
Here.
Mr. Gallitz.
Here.
Mrs. Kane.
Here.
Mr. Gatsky.
Here.
Mr. Wirch. Mr. Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
A full quorum tonight.
So the purpose for this special meeting is the public hearing for the 2022 city budget. This time I will open the public hearing at 6:31. We have one person signed up that would like to speak. Rob Wichow. Please state your name and address for the record before you start.
Good evening, council. My name is Rob Wichow, 223 Union Street. I'd like to point out a few things regarding this budget that I noticed I'd like to bring up. The fact that this meeting is only 25 minutes and it was only brought to the public's attention on Friday is kind of suspect to me. Was not in the paper, so it seems like this is a secret meeting, and if anybody was only paying attention, that's how they'd know about it. So I don't feel there's a lot of transparency going on here once again, which I'm not surprised about. But moving on, we'll see how many people picked up on it and will show up and say anything. So moving on, I have a lot of concerns with this budget, and once again, it's not passing the sniff test. Under the election bracket, I see an increase of 97% overall. With that being said, I see that there is salaries increase for part-time employees of 150%. And then I also see that advertising elections are going up 77%. Then I also see that we're feeding them, which I have no problem. If they're here doing a duty for us, you got to feed them. No problem. But why is it going up 97%? And my biggest question under the election part of this, why are we needing a hotspot for any computers? I think a big problem that we already realize is these machines are hooked up to the internet, and that's caused such election conflict on every side of the things. So that's a big question, is the hotspot, and why? Now, city administration, why is there 1,185% increase to professional services under city administration services? And then we're raising and increasing janitorial services up to $18,000. And what are they cleaning up that substantiates such an increase? And why under the city administration line item are we looking to hire, and I direct this question to the administrator, are we hiring an assistant? Because the budget only called for $3,000 last year, and now it's at $43,000. Why is such an increase of 40 grand? That sounds like another employee. Now we go to cable TV, which blows my mind. I don't even understand any of this. But why are expenses only listed in the budget report, but it's already been proven that there's revenue generated from the cable department? Why isn't that being reported in the budget and the balance? And what happens to that money, and why are you hiding that? There's a 12% increase for employees. Usually the standard is 2%, if I'm not mistaken, according to last year anyway. And then I really got to call on the suspect, why are we paying a part-time employee's full benefits to include health and life, social and retirement, if they're a part-time employee, and they're making almost $40,000 a year as a part-time employee? And then cable TV dues and subscriptions raised this year for 225%. Why is that not being reported? Once again, I just don't see where this budget is transparent. And then we move on to, why are we budgeting $5,000 for social media when social media to be managed and create is free? There's more I could say about the social media or about the cable TV, but actually year to date it's $34,500. Public Works. What's happening in this line item proposed at 2022 budget for $60,000 for 2 F-150 pickup trucks? But if we're going into a fleet status, what's going on with that money? Where is that being absorbed? Where is it being hidden? And I also got to ask, if we're going to be doing this fleet thing and leasing, you guys are saying that we're going to make $5,000 after leasing, that we're going to sell this pickup back. But how much money was released for uplifting and customizing?
That's your time.
And the biggest thing I want to add in, at the very end, $350,000 to developer incentives. Where's that money coming from? And what does that mean? $350,000 in a line item?
That's your time.
If I only had more time. Thank you.
All right, I have no other names on my list for public comment for this public hearing. I'll ask, is there anyone else in the room that would like to make a comment for the public hearing? Please step forward, state your name and address for the record.
I don't have anything planned. He actually made some really good points that I didn't know about.
Correct.
Oh, I'm sorry, Michelle Peer, 321 Thorn. I was just wondering, this is a public hearing, which means there's a legal requirement for whatever you're doing, passing the budget. It requires a public hearing, but you threw it, you piggybacked it or behind a council meeting that nobody knows about. It's obviously not being handled like a council meeting. You have not taken roll call or the Pledge of Allegiance and everything. So it is a public hearing, and I just don't understand why you kind of switcherooed and mashed them both together. I had no idea that there was a special meeting. It was actually not a special meeting, council meeting. It's a public hearing. Am I right? This is a public hearing being added as a council meeting with an agenda called public hearing. Am I right?
That's correct.
That's disingenuous. And that's just my observation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll ask one last time. Is there anyone else in the room that would like to add to this public comment? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing section at 6:38. And I'll turn to council. Is there any questions or comments on the budget?
I've got a question.
John?
Because it is a public hearing, is it law that citizens are limited to 5 minutes?
Not a law.
Is it,
It's just to make
but
sure
Mr.
that
Witchell speak longer than 5 minutes?
he could, but
Why was he cut off?
obviously you want to try to keep the meeting moving. And we have a time limit with another meetings coming. But if he has other things to offer, I'm certain that the chair would allow it. But that's standard in any meeting, is to try to get as much input from the public as possible. So you have the half an hour set for the meeting. If he has other comments, nobody's stopping him from commenting further.
I guess my other,
But I gotta ask flat out, if there's only a handful of people that are going to speak, say it's 2 to 3 people, why can't you give them a little more allotted time? What if there was 30 people here tonight that were gonna speak for this budget meeting? How much transparency is there from this council, and what does this public council mean to the public? And what does the public mean to you guys?
Would you like another 3 minutes to speak?
I'll take as much time as you allot me.
I will give you 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I'll reopen the public hearing at 6:40.
I mean, you guys talk about transparency, but then you want to hush us.
Go ahead.
So now I got a question too. Over $10,760 for a domain registry. WCM, what is that? And then there's Castus and Adobe. An Adobe membership in the cloud is $49 a month and registered at $8.99 a year. And we're paying Castus more than $9,000 a year? We need more explanation on this. And then your budgeting equipment for 2020 was $8,255. Actually, year to date is now $34,500. And then when I was talking under the Public Works Department with these trucks that you guys seem to be jamming down our throats, I went and spoke with Randy and Rob down at Holman's. If you guys are already saying that we're supposed to shop local, Why were they not even afforded the opportunity to be invited to bid? But we're gonna go to enterprise? Now, why is a second entity like that being offered? And we have a Zoom meeting. Obviously, they're here, they're gonna be making money. But a guy that has a business in this town and we're supposed to shop local, you didn't even invite them to make a bid? They could have worked with you so much. I spoke with them directly. And quite frankly, Rob, I could see it and hear it in his voice, is a little perturbed with you guys. He's paying how much in property taxes every year? And no matter if you guys have given him incentive to be here as a business, you guys are making money off of every sale that he makes and every vehicle that drives off that property. And you guys don't even have the common courtesy to reach out to a local businessman, to even give him an opportunity to make a bid and work with you guys. He just told me there's other municipalities, and he thought it wasn't Rosenhill, but it's further. I don't know if it was Wild Rose or what. He's working and servicing one of their vehicles as we speak, and he's totally uplifting and customizing a brand new 2000 or 250 package 3/4 ton truck for them. And he's totally working with them and giving them every bell and whistle that he can. And you guys couldn't even give a call or have a lunch with him? Where's this transparency coming from? And I also question,
That's your time.
what is the relationship between this guy on Zoom and the administrator, and why was he called in?
That is your time. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Chief.
Once again, I will close the public hearing at 6:43. Again, back to council. Any comments or questions on the budget?
Just a question, because this is kind of new to me on the public hearing versus public communications. When does the public get a chance to get an answer on their questions for a public hearing?
Certainly that's this evening, and if the question is framed and the Common Council is interested in the answer, that is why we're here this evening. So, yes, if there was something that was raised in that commentary that was kind of all over the place, if there's something you want to bring forward and ask the city administrator or any other department head, this is the time. That's the point of a public hearing. But it belongs, again, the meeting belongs to you as the Common Council.
It belongs to you guys and not us. So I'm asking the questions, I'm not getting any answers.
But you're asking questions that are going all over the place.
Well, if I only got 5 minutes,
But it doesn't matter.
I gotta
You
get
had
the
10
points,
minutes.
right?
At the end of
Well,
the
I'm
day,
using your word.
Both of you, please, stop. We'll have order.
I'm answering the council person's question.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
The council person asked the question about a public hearing. The public hearing is exactly for that, input from the public. It's your meeting. You heard from this individual citizen. If you have questions to follow up, this is the time. That's the purpose of a public hearing, is to raise questions
Okay.
that the body can respond to. That's different than public comment. Absolutely. So this is the time to deal with issues that he raised, that he has questions regarding.
Okay. I wish I would have wrote down the questions, but regardless, I have a question on compost budget. It says, full-time salaries, 7,970. I didn't know that we had I just need an explanation on the full-time salary. I thought it was only open Saturdays and Tuesdays. And along with that, then there is health and life insurance that
Under the
goes.
compost, there's only $5,000 for part-time salaries in the 2022 budget.
Okay, so what was this actual for 2020 then?
My assumption is that they needed to cover time at the compost site if there was other things with full-time staff. So then full-time staff's hours get allocated to that account, so
Okay.
we can track.
Okay, that's fair, fair enough. I'm done right now.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
For the elections portion, is it correct that the almost 100% increase would be because 2022 is a local election year for?
They're double the amount of elections.
Okay, thank you.
At least double.
Yes.
Quite a few next year.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to say, I mean, I have, as a member of the League of Women Voters and someone who has talked both with our city elections official as well as our county elections official, I have nothing but the utmost respect for the security and seriousness they take. Is this the appropriate time to ask if Ann would like to provide any other context for any of the questions that were raised? Is that appropriate to ask if there is any other feedback that she would like to help clarify based on some of the questions that were raised? I will say personally, from looking into this, I know people that are election observers, and you know, it's always run so well here. But for example, maybe an explanation on why the hotspot is needed, as an example.
Firstly, the election machines are not hooked up to the internet. The hotspot is just like on your phone. It's to modem the results to the county at night.
I can't hear you. What's that?
The hotspot is like the hotspot on your phone. It's to modem the election results to the county at night, so we don't have to drive there. But the machines are not hooked up to the internet.
But a hotspot, I believe, can get hacked too, can it? And why do we have to change something that's been in place for so long that we're going to go to a hotspot?
The hotspot has been used since we've gotten the machines we have, the ice machines, and we've had those since 2016.
Well, an ice machine doesn't have anything.
The ice machines are the machines that we use.
Right.
And we've used them since 2016, and we've been using that hotspot since 2016. And we received that hotspot when we get our election supplies, when we get our ballots, and we have to turn it back to the county after the election with all the other election results.
So you have to get a new hotspot?
So it's secured over at the county. Yep, we're giving it one for every election.
Well, my question is, why does a voting machine have to be hooked up to a hotspot? One,
to modem the results to the county. And the only time it's actually inserted into the machine is after all the, when you push the button to print out the results onto the tape, then the results are modemed to the county. After the results tape is printed and after the election workers have
but we need a
ballots.
hotspot for that? We can't just have a internet connection?
No.
So, since the
more
line
secure.
item is specified just as a hotspot,
Yep.
where is there a line item for security on said hotspot so it's not hacked? And who is qualified as an IT individual?
Fond du Lac County.
What's that?
Fond du Lac County IT.
Fond du Lac County IT? So they're the ones that issue the
Yep.
hotspot and they're the ones that have the security on it?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. See, we need more clarification on that. We don't understand, you just say hotspot.
And then,
But now, is there any payment to them for that extra IT service?
no.
That's just included.
Yep.
So how much is the hotspot?
It's $100 for the year. $100 for the year.
$100 for a year?
And there's 4
For an
elections.
IT person from Fond du Lac?
That's for the hotspot.
That's for the
Fond du
hotspot.
Lac
But
County is,
what about the support from said individual?
Fond du Lac County is picking that up.
What's that?
Fond du Lac County is picking that up.
But they're paid from us, correct?
Rob, to answer your question, it's included in the cost of renting the hotspot.
What is the total cost? with the IT
$100.
person?
$100.
County. But to
It's in your budget.
us, it's $100.
I shouldn't have to ask
It's
Fond du Lac County.
$100.
It should be in a budget. It should be
Okay.
It's
outlined.
$100.
We've answered your question. If you have further details you want to get on the security, please refer them to Fond du
My
Lac
question
County.
is, why isn't it detailed in the budget
Because
then?
to us, the bill is $100. If you want a breakdown on that bill, you have to contact Fond du Lac County.
Oh.
And as far as
That
what,
sounds more like a subscription than it is an IT protection. Just saying,
talk to Lisa.
especially when a part-time guy can get $40,000 a year in full benefits. I would think
You've
an
had your
IT
time,
individual
Rob, you've had
should
your
get
time to
paid
speak.
Also,
You have had your time to speak. This is the council's time, not your time.
I'm part of public, right? She just addressed me, so I'm answering her question, and I'm asking more.
We are moving on.
Well, let's move on to the next point. Because I have plenty of valid questions here.
That's
Is
it.
anybody else going to ask?
We're moving on. Jolene, the floor is yours.
At this time, I feel I have, there's a number of questions that I've asked the different department heads, and so at this time, I don't have any other questions. As far as my understanding of the budget is clear, and I do appreciate that the department heads have been available and responsive to any questions that I, as a council member, have had.
Thank you. Anyone else with questions or comments?
I would like to make a comment, and it has to do with, I know Rob's not satisfied here, but, you know, any citizen can come to us at any time. And I get it all the time, and I get asked all kinds of questions. And then wherever I need to go, I find the answers, and then I get them to you. So it's counterproductive to come here and ask one question after another, walk across the street and ask me any question, and I'll get your answer. And that's with anyone, any citizen, feel free to contact me, and I will get you the information you're requesting. That's why it's only a half hour. We've never had this happen before. So, but we are happy to
Did
answer
you
any
just say,
questions.
my hearing is bad, and I can't hear very well at all, especially when something's got a covering on? Did you say it's counterproductive for an individual to come into this meeting and ask questions?
I did not say it's counterproductive. I said we only got a half hour. We have not had that
Well, I
many
would think
people.
for something as important as a budget,
Well-
should be allotted more than 25 minutes.
Well, any question anyone has, they can show up at my house, call me, email me.
But see,
I
we
will
need to
get your
educate
answer.
the public. Our conversation behind closed doors isn't going to educate the public. How am I supposed to get that information that you shared with me out to the public? That's what I'm trying to be productive.
You understand the concept of representative government?
Is this under common law
No.
or European? Is that what you're referencing?
No.
The
Or do you wanna
United
talk about
States,
law?
as
States
well
of
as the
America
city of
have
Ripon, is a
representatives.
representative government.
That means that you elect people
You
to
just
get
don't like the
answers.
conflict I'm bringing up.
I have no further comment.
Moving on, do any other council members have any questions or comments on the budget?
I just want to make a comment that, like Dave, all 8 of us representatives of our districts are open for anybody to come. Our city administrator can also be contacted and met with at any time. Same with our mayor and our city attorney. The public has those options to do that. All they need to do is reach out.
So
And any
on
questions
Friday,
they
I
have-
should have contacted.
Rob,
asked why
please
it was a
hold-
secret meeting.
Please hold your comments. This is not your time to speak. Howard, please.
So with that, if anyone has any questions regarding budgets or any services and that stuff, contact the councilman or our city administrator or our mayor, and you'll get your answers.
I'm glad it was in the paper. It wasn't in the paper. At 7 o'clock. No, because if you look at the agenda,
Hold your tongue or I'll have you removed. I've had enough.
And then,
Are you done?
are you? I just commented what he said.
Are you done?
Well, address the situation. Why is it at 6:30 a secret meeting? It's not even in a paper.
One more time, and I'm going to have you removed.
And then,
You will be not eligible to come back into this meeting, and you can not see how it...
well, you're not gonna listen to anything more I gotta say anyway.
Then hold your tongue. Moving on. Are there any other questions or comments from the council? At this time, I would entertain a resolution to adopt the 2022 budget and tax levy. Would anyone like to make that motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved by David, seconded by Paige. Any discussion on the motion?
We don't, Mayor, we don't have a written resolution?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, all right. All right, there it is.
Two-sided.
First, I didn't look on this backside. So, okay, thank you.
Yep, so you have in there the written resolution, the projected mill rate, the summary, and then the following budget.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on the motion? One last time, any questions or comments on the motion? Hearing none, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Schrader.
Aye.
Mrs. Schatzinger.
Yes.
Mr. Hanson.
Aye.
Mr. Gallix.
Yes.
Mrs. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Gotsky.
Aye.
Mr. Split.
Yes.
Passes.
Thank you. As that is the last item on our agenda for the special meeting, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved by Paige, seconded by David. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 6:59. Take
Arts is turning more to be a suburban sport than small town. Here we go, folks. It's 1st and 10 after that successful catch and run. Ball on the 15. There's the pitch at the last second, but great job of stringing it out on a wonderful hit.
Wow. Just absolutely wow. I'm not sure what exactly to make of what just happened. But apparently, that Common Council meeting that was streamed a minute ago has now ended, and we are going to hopefully see a roll call and a Pledge of Allegiance for the next Common Council meeting, which is live upcoming now. Nikki Rabbit in the house tonight says, I can't believe how empty that room is. Well, maybe it's because it was poorly announced. Rob, of course, bringing up several questions. Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den says, this council sickens me. Boy, I can tell you, there is a lot to be understood. And perhaps this will come down to an audit type situation, perhaps a civil audit type situation. But seemed to be some miscommunication between the public and the council when it came to answering some very basic questions as far as the hotspot issue, which is a minor line item budget. It's only $100 on the budget, which they have proposed here under the elections category of the budget. But we are waiting now for the regular council meeting to begin. And again, the public is given an opportunity, another 5 minutes to speak. So we can only imagine what might happen in the next few moments of public comments. But I can tell you, it is definitely worth paying attention to in your own local backyard. Here we go. The equipment that was referenced tonight was the hotspot for $100. And apparently that comes with full service to the ice machines. But as far as I was concerned, as far as I knew, these results at the end of the night were supposed to be driven to the county, not sent electronically. As Rob points out, perhaps a hotspot could be hacked. Who knows? Raider Champion says, what the hell? Didn't get the notification. That's okay. Sometimes it doesn't happen. They don't like to give us those notifications. The hotspot should not be hooked up, says My Life DIY. She said it's so. They don't have to drive the numbers over. Started in 2016. Shouldn't be. Great to see all of you tonight paying attention. My Life, Nikki Rabbit, Terry Taggart, Raider Champion, Go-Kart Bob in the house tonight with Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den. This is better than reality television could ever produce. This is the real council members of Ripon, Wisconsin. I can tell you, a little bit of a delay tonight. The regular Common Council meeting set to begin at 7 p.m. is now 4 minutes delayed. So at any moment, we can anticipate perhaps seeing the Pledge of Allegiance, the call to order, but something tells me that those council members needed a break after that. As we looked at the mask mandate that was part of the discussion recently in the past few council meetings, where some of these same members of the public showed up, they had already published an approved amendment to the mask mandate, or policy, as they called it, before the vote ever took place. So something tells us, in this interest of transparency, that perhaps this was expected to go exactly as it was, considering that the Common Council agenda equated for only 25 minutes for the entire meeting to take place, apparently not expecting to hear any public comments. And I think Rob brought up a very good point in that meeting tonight. What would happen if 30 people had actually showed up? If 30 people had actually gotten the proper notification and were there to speak on behalf of the public hearing portion of the agenda, what would have happened? It's anyone's guess. Digital security is an oxymoron, says Go-Kart Bob. I can tell you that is an absolute fact. And here we are now, a full 6 minutes delayed from what we expect is going to be the regular Common Council meeting, which, by the way, that agenda does include public communications and comment. So I am thinking if Rob is still in the room.
Roll call
Here we
again,
go.
please.
Let's
Mr.
tune in
Schrader.
and listen.
Mrs. Schatzinger.
Here.
Mr. Hanson.
Here.
Mr. Gallup.
Here.
Kane.
Here.
Mr. Gottschee.
Here.
Mr. Wirtz. Mr. Split.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Psalm 28, verse 7. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and he helps me. My heart leaps for joy, and with my song I praise him. Good and gracious God, we thank you for another day, and we ask that you would continue to be with us in all that we do. Thank you for giving us your strength anew each day. With you, all things are possible. Bless and be with the City Council as they come together to make decisions and guide our city. Grant them strength and wisdom, that whatever they do will be in the best interest of all of Ripon. In your holy name we pray, O Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, pardon me.
All right, would anyone like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Howard. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by John. Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Moving on to public comment. This is the opportunity for citizens to come before the council with comments and concerns on any current city issue, knowing no action will be taken tonight. I ask that you keep it civil and respectful and within 5 minutes. However, discussion of personnel or of individual members of the common council shall not be permitted. I expect you to be respectful, and in return, I expect the council to treat the citizens with the same respect. Before you begin, state your name and address for the record. First up is Michelle Peart.
My name is Michelle Pierre. I live at 321 Thorn. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen. We the people have watched in horror and disbelief as the blatant abuse in our government on all levels seeks to destroy this great nation and our quality of life in it. Intentional political theater and calculated intellectual dishonesty that preys on ignorance and intellectual laziness and is shaping the increasing tyranny against us. Glossing over common sense and objective truths with this ridiculous circular logic that conveniently moves the goalposts when it thinks you're too dumbed down to understand the experts. Look over there at the elusive reasonable man standard while we trick you with the ambiguous common law understanding over here. Common understanding of a law that has nothing to do with our constitutional rights, and they know it. Do you? It's a shell game. Logical fallacy and unhinged abstractions under this moving cup. Linguistic gymnastics and silly straw man arguments under the next moving cup. Revisionist history complete with hopey-changey sentimentality under the last moving cup. Don't blink, or you'll miss the comedy/tragedy right before your very eyes. On October 25th, this council spent 30 minutes in quite the one-sided, non-factual smoke and mirrors regarding the initial push for an unconstitutional and unenforceable mask mandate, with the lawyer spin and feckless backpedaling posing as legal ground, usurping 90% of it, essentially hemming and hawing the nonsense into a mere pretty please and we hope you sure do lame recommendation, entitled it as a policy. Basically, a codified virtue-signaling Lone Ranger whispering, hi-ho, face diaper, atop a horse with no legs. Furthermore, if I were a city employee, I'd carefully research and understand that even as an employer, the city is still a public entity that does not and cannot operate as a private employer. Know your rights regarding being forced to wear a mask during work hours and any sly future policies that may demand being vaxxed against your will or be fired. That'd be unlawful termination, and as a taxpayer, I don't want to pay for the potential lawsuits. You council members freely chose to be sworn in as public servants and agreed to work for us, Ripon's legal citizens, on behalf of our constitutional rights and in strict accordance with Wisconsin state law. These meetings most emphatically do not belong to you, and they are not for you. You knew that at one time, and you must never forget it. You don't rudely gong another human being off this podium at your wholly disrespectful 5-minute mark whim, with such disdain for anyone exercising their civic duty by watchdogging and addressing their local government. And you don't use these meetings like taxpayer-funded commercials to push the fear-mongering propaganda just before adjourning to closed session. I don't come here telling you to take the useless, unhealthy face diapers off. You don't use your televised seat to tell me or anyone else to jab the DNA-altering Kool-Aid straight up and directly into my veins. Don't tread on me. Lastly, I do sincerely wish all of you a good night, and let's go, Brandon. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritui Sancti. Amen.
Next, Rob Witchow.
That's a hard one to follow.
State your name and address, please.
Oh, sorry about that. Rob Witchow, 223 Union Street. Got a little hand there before, but I had to quick get the stuff in on the last meeting, so hopefully to your wishes I'll probably be a little more brief. But I already asked what this public does mean to this council. Coming back as a broken record about this mask policy, it has created such a lack of trust, and I'm glad this lady brought up masks because I'm not the only one here talking about it. But you guys pulled a fast one. You guys pulled the agenda from October and then acted like you guys never said it was a mandate. And I have it in black and white that you guys were saying it was a mandate, but you guys sat here and all backed each other up and said, oh, it's a policy, it's a policy, it's a policy. Nobody's gonna get arrested, nobody's gonna get escorted out or asked to be removed, when in your policy in October, it stated that's what exactly was gonna happen. And now you guys rewrote it. You guys are caught red-handed, changing your own wording, and then you guys didn't do a good enough job because you still have it in there, any child over the age of 2 must wear a face covering. And then you still kept it in that agenda, specifying what a prescribed and legal face mask was. And as far as I can tell, a lot of you guys are in violation because even a neck gaiter, according to you guys, is not passable because a light source will pass through it. And then you also had the ability to say that a clear plastic mask is not good enough, even though you can see somebody speaking and it obviously keeps their mouth and their nose, just like you're covering, unobstructed, right? But you guys say that's not good enough. It's got to go around the ears and it's got to be made of fabric. And you guys took your original policy and your line and you took a whole paragraph out and you skirted it and you changed it to a policy recommendation without action. You guys took that without action out of there too. There's more dishonesty. And then I find it absurd that the city council, once they pass something, it should be law, right? Or policy, as you guys put it. When a public library board has said, no, we're not going to listen to what the policy was handed down for public from the city council. And Mr. Mayor, you sit on that board. So did you get on the phone right away and say, hey, you guys keep doing your own thing because you guys are your own entity? It's a public city building. So are you saying that board trumps this council? Where's the transparency once again? They get to do whatever they want, and then their policy says 5 years and older. So they get to write whatever they want. You guys said 2 and older. Doesn't make a lot of sense. They're supposed to be adopting and adhering to what you guys make and pass, if I'm not mistaken. And I really don't believe at any point now we're getting the services that you guys were elected to and appointed to. And the more we're finding out with this money, I think there needs to be a city audit done and a civil audit done. And a lot of you should really start thinking about quitting and resigning. Take a vacation unpaid and just quit your position. Thanks a lot.
All right. Moving on, next item on the agenda is to accept the informal reports from standing committees and staff. Is there a motion to approve as published?
Second.
Moved by Paige, seconded by Al. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the reports and informational reports from standing committees and staff, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. Next item is approving the consent calendar. Is there a motion to approve the entire calendar as published? Oh, John, you have a question?
Could I pull number 2, please?
Pulling number 2. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendars, items 1, 3, 4, and 5?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by David, seconded by John. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving consent calendars, items 1, 3, 4, and 5, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those are approved. John, you have a question on item 2.
Historic Preservation Commission approved 230 Watson Street, the exterior of the new building that will be put up, the garage and the facade of the existing building, with the understanding that there's probably still going to be some zoning issues that are coming up. But we just wanted to make clear to council that we just approved the exterior because of the historic district.
Good clarification.
Thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve item number 2?
I'll make the motion to approve number 2.
Moved by John, seconded by Paige. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving consent calendar item 2, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Moving into our action items. First item is the EMS billing and collection services. Mitch, would you like to give a summary on this before we get into it?
Good evening, everyone. So, now I guess not a whole lot of new information. Lud, I believe you were able to clarify some things with Tim,
Yes,
correct?
I was.
Okay. Did you want to speak on that? Because we kind of left off
Yes,
there.
I can certainly do that. You can finish
Okay.
whatever you need to add, and then I'll.
No, so to explain some of the things that are in your packet, we had requested that Tim, the Vice President of LifeQuest, provide us some sample reports, and I guess there's really not page numbers, but I just wanted to comment on those, and if you had a chance to look at them, there's numerous reports. There's actually about 12 that we'll get every month. Currently, we have all of this information somewhere. It's between, it's a combination of stuff on my end.
What an incredible Common Sense Council show this has been so far. Just so that you're aware, They have moved on past the public communications and comment portion. They are now into the action items, which includes the EMS billing and collection services, which is part of what's being discussed right now. And then they're going to move to a resolution of amending the City of Ripon Employee Handbook, and then they're going to adopt or vote to adopt an ordinance to amend the actual dividing of the city into wards. Boy, doesn't that sound like the Hunger Games? I don't know. Ordinance to amend the wards would mean that they're going to amend who the aldermen and the supervisory districts of that code report to. And then, of course, before we get the project, after we get the project updates and staff reports, we will hear what the mayor's communications are and appointments, and those are usually quite interesting, as he has been a staunch supporter of the medical treatment. So it's going to be very interesting. Go-Kart Bob says, I have the COVID notice from my county, and it says health advisory, which is interesting, Go-Kart Bob, because apparently they have a recommendation in place in the county of Fond du Lac as well. So very curious. But again, hopefully this inspires you to take a more proactive approach to your local common council, as these are designed to be educational so that you understand how your city government actually works. And you can tell these people are not happy tonight being challenged by the people that put them there. You, the general public. It is an interesting thing. What are they putting in the handbook? We have no idea, my life. We will return back now to the discussion, and we will await the mayor, Theodore Grant's, final statements, which we anticipate will probably include a message to get the medical treatment. Let's listen back in now.
How much better maybe they're doing than we were collecting on some of the stuff more up front. Their process on the back end, Bud can mention, is similar to ours. Their process on the front end, getting this more active, quicker, is what's going to set us up to be in a better position. Also, then you can see that there's an outstanding balance of around $880,000 that staff will continue to collect. So, I mean, a couple questions from the last meeting. Just wanted to provide that information to you, just for merely the fact that it was asked and we have it available. And then there's questions about the contract. So we provided an email from Tim regarding the term of the contract, and basically him saying the rate would remain at 6.5% unless it would be reduced. So we're pretty confident that the 6.5% will remain in effect. And Lud, if you have anything, I don't know.
Yeah, I will comment, because obviously that was part of why we didn't go forward at the last meeting, is I had a couple of questions, and I was able to talk to Tim. He was very helpful, very direct. On the backside collection, it is not including any small claims action or court actions as part of their collection process. And I just wanted to clarify that and make sure the council is aware of that. We have done it on occasion. We have done it to obviously get people's attention and let them know that we will go to that stage under current practice. That does not in any way impugn that this is absolutely the right direction to go. The opportunity to have a system and have people who are obviously well-versed and competent in knowing where to look, how to communicate, get the proper communication on a timely fashion to ensure that we get all insurance money that is out there is critical. And that is the number one reason to go in this direction. Obviously, keeping track of where we're at, where we're going, the reporting of it, being on top of the billing practice, making sure that we're complying with billing practices so we don't have to worry about audits, is another compelling reason to go with LifeQuest. So the clarification is simply at the back end, they're going to put it on a credit report. And that obviously can have some impact, but much of the write-offs, people aren't worried about their credit report or their credit. Ultimately, it may end up in bankruptcy, it may end up where the individual dies in testate without any estate. And so the write-offs have been what they are. I think Adam made a very good point. You see the rising number of write-offs because of the volume that we're doing as an ambulance. So clearly on balance is the right thing to do, but it's just clarifying that, their practice is going to be more aggressive and more targeted on the front end. On the back end, we still may have write-offs. And as Adam pointed up, it just gives us a benchmark to see where we're going and how we're doing in terms of ultimately collecting. And there's nothing to prohibit us if we get to the end of it, if they're a collectible individual, small claims ourselves, if we decide that's a direction to go. So 100% in support of going with LifeQuest after my conversation.
And last meeting, I don't know if we had talked about the fact that we will still participate in the TRIP program, the tax return intercept program. They'll do that on the city's behalf.
Right, which we already do.
Which we already do, correct, yeah.
But
Yep.
no, it'll be
That'll
more
continue.
organized, it'll be
Yes.
every time, and then gaining the information and making sure they're doing that with all resources possible to get it into the system. Again, another value, another reason why we go forward with LifeQuest.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Al, seconded by Howard. Any discussion?
Question.
David.
On the contract, it says for 2 years, 12-month renewal, and you can terminate with 30-day notice. Is that immediately or after the 2 years?
No, during the term of the contract, as I understand it.
Okay, so we can
get out of it,
We're not
I really
happy, we
don't
can get
feel
out
like we're
anytime
getting
we want.
anything for it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And they're pretty much guaranteed, they saying that they're not going to raise their rates.
That's what I'm able to obtain.
That's how I interpret my response from
can't take it
Tim,
that
yeah. It's in writing there, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a relationship.
it is, yes.
There are questions?
Yeah.
John?
Could you explain to me the process of the billing? Like when the ambulance goes out, do you, as director, then the next day write up a bill, pass it along? Who's going to be doing that type of paperwork? Or can you just explain it to me?
Yeah, absolutely. So how it currently works is our crews will go out, they'll write an ambulance report, and that ambulance report goes instantly to the state. So they get their data for, reporting purposes. But usually within 48 hours, I will enter it into our billing system, and then weekly, I create an invoice. I prepare those invoices. I print. It's called a HCFA form. It's the healthcare or the health insurance. It's a standardized submittal form. After I've done that, then that's kind of the front end. Then it goes to Karen, who she prepares and sends those out to the appropriate insurance companies. MA, Medicare, and some private insurances are entered online, but others are actually physically mailed out. And so that's the down and dirty of the process. And we're always a week behind. Right now, we'll be pretty much real time with our billing with LifeQuest. So they'll get the ambulance report. I'll still have to look it over to make sure if I need to send it back to the crew to clarify something, say they forgot a procedure, not only for billing, but for continuity of care, I'll send it back to them. They'll fix it, and then within 24 hours or so, it'll be billed. 24 to 36. Tim said that 36 hours is the max that one will sit idle. And currently now, we're a week. If there's vacation factored into there, it could be a couple weeks behind. And all evidence shows that the quicker someone receives their bill, or the quicker they get their copay, the quicker they pay. So it's a benefit to us, just logistically. We can't match that.
So in reality, you're still doing the same paperwork, but it'll be bypassing Karen?
No, I won't have to create, so we have a couple different programs. I have a program that the former chief teach-out created that's an Excel or a Microsoft Access program that we kind of input all our data. That's how we store our billing information. I won't have to do that anymore. I won't have to prepare those forms. We use Cassell, the city accounting software, to create an invoice for those. That goes along in this packet that I send to Karen. That'll all be eliminated from my workload. That answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, it's as detailed as I can get, probably.
Yeah, no. The Lifeline contract, you said it is a 2-year?
Yeah, so 2 years and it auto renews until.
So for sure, 2 years.
Yep.
It's at 6.5.
It'll be 6.5 likely forever.
Yeah.
I can't believe that, but.
No, but what it comes down to is it also comes down to rates. It comes down to volume. So as we grow, they grow. That's the whole concept.
And as Medicare raises their rates, they get an increase as well, because Medicare is paying more, so they're going to take more. So Medicare, Medicaid. So, any other questions on that? Okay.
Anyone else?
As a follow-up, thank you for explaining some of the areas where you will be spending less time administratively. Perhaps you could, let us know. I think this is good for our city. It sounds like it frees you up to do some other things. And perhaps maybe what are some things that you may be able to spend a little extra time on then, that, and how, I mean, and
Day of vacation. No, that's a good question. We have, our call volume is growing, and the number of people that we have to staff the ambulance is not growing. No secret, it's everywhere. First and foremost, it'll allow me to be on the ambulance more. I thoroughly enjoy being on the ambulance, and I miss doing that, So, but when I am on the ambulance and there's a day that we're busy, then this all gets turfed to the next day, and eventually sometimes it rolls over to the next week. So, I spend a lot of hours here. I'm here late all the time, and so I think I'll leave on time one day. I'll try that, and I'll start there. But the other thing is, we have to focus on our service, our future of our service, our recruitment, our retention, our policy manual. We just started overhauling that. That's going to be a huge project because it's very outdated. I have no shortage of tasks. I could go on and on if you'd like, but I really, I seriously though, I'll be able to focus more on the day-to-day operations. Getting our protocols, those will need to be looked at, and redone very soon again as well. So.
Well, I appreciate being also that, you're a newer department head still, and you brought something to us to help what sounds like will be a real benefit to our city.
I think so, yes.
It sounds like potentially save money. It helps you and your department to continue to, again, serve in a way that you're not bogged down by the paperwork. And I also hear you saying that being able to have some time to go home from work on time would be nice. And I think that on a larger level, I think we've been really lucky that as a city we have employees that stay with us. And so I hear that, we don't want you burning out. So this seems like a good thing when we look at how do we keep our employees longer.
Yeah, it is, definitely.
Other questions, comments? John?
Yeah. One more question. I've been told that some of our write-offs that we were uncollectible because we've done transfers that we know Medicare won't cover. Say, I know for one, an emergency from point A to the hospital is covered, but from the hospital back to, say, a person's home, is not considered an emergency, but has been done because it's a city service. Will those still be done?
Yeah, there's really, I mean, that is something that we do from time to time, or back to the nursing home. We do quite a few of those. It's all about how we code those, how we write reports, and we've already started that process in getting our reports up to par, I guess, if you will. Some of them, it's just unavoidable that they're uncollectible, and there's certain calls that we'll do that are just going to be uncollectible, and those are just done as a community service, essentially. But to say no to some of those transfers would leave some of our community members in a bad spot. And for the few that are not billable, I don't think it's worth, to put somebody, I guess to leave them hanging, if you will. And with Medicare, we do get reimbursed for some of that. It's just at a lower rate. So at the emergent rate for a 911 call, we bill at the emergent rate. It's about a $200 give or take difference as far as going out on a 911 call, as opposed to taking someone back from the hospital to, say, Whispering Pines or Prairie Place. So some of them, most are billable. It just depends on the condition of the patient, how the doctor wrote the prescription for transport, and how we document.
Okay. Just to be clear, though, that this new service isn't going to collect 100%.
No, and we knew that. No, that was never the intention. That was never even a thought. It's just to streamline the process and to be more compliant is a huge thing.
Anyone else?
I guess perhaps I'll just say out loud that I didn't realize that perhaps that there were some local individuals that could be left hanging, and that it was really under the decision of the goodwill of our local services. And so I guess just please do feel free to bring back to us if you are finding that there are people that you don't have resources for, and that our current practices ever do leave people hanging. Please do bring that up to us.
Sure.
Anyone else? Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the motion to accept the Lifeline, what's the full name of the contract here? LifeQuest. Sorry about that. Where'd it go? Too many papers. Anyhow, the LifeQuest contract for 2 years. Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
That is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch. Pardon me while I straighten out some of these papers. All right, moving on to our next action item, resolution amending the City of Ripon Employee Handbook. Adam, you want a summary on this one?
So we've been talking about this, it's kind of been a slow move toward this. So there are two things that we're recommending being changed within the employee handbook, one regarding personal time, and then health insurance contributions to employees. So the personal time goes from 2 days to 36 hours. That was done a few years ago and never codified in the handbook. And then the health insurance, effective January 1st, would move from a employee only, $100, employee spouse, employee child, $150, and then family plan, $200. So we've talked about that. That mirrors the union contract. Just a heads up, we did find an insurance plan that was within the budget, and we'll be working through that with staff. It's with Anthem, the same provider we have. It's a high deductible health plan with HRA to help some of the costs, but that is the best option. Just for some perspective, we had about 13, 14 quotes out there to get pricing from insurance companies, and we were denied by 11 or 12 of them. So not many options, but this is the next best thing within the city budget that was just passed. So
Can you share more about why we were denied?
high cost claims.
Okay,
Regional networks did not want to touch the risk within our pool.
thanks.
So.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, or would anyone like to make a motion to approve this resolution?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Al, seconded by John. Any discussion?
Thanks for the quick work by our city administrator to find new quotes. You know, I understand, as we said, it was a surprise that it was. But yeah, no, it matters, and we're under, you know, the timeframe for our budget.
And thank you, but we've communicated out to employees, we're holding meetings, we're trying to educate and get, you know, changes in place, because it is a personal, very personal thing to a lot of employees, and we understand, so we tried to find the best plan design for the money, and found a solution at least for 2022, and we will continue to evaluate and bring back changes to this or anything else that we need to do in the future.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the resolution amending the City of Ripon Employee Handbook, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. Next item is an ordinance to amend Chapter 1.12 of the City of Ripon Municipal Code, dividing the city into wards. Pretty straightforward here. This just follows after our last meeting of laying out the new districts for elections. This is a formality, along with the next item on the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved by David, seconded by Paige. Any questions or discussions?
When do we expect a new map will be available for our local community?
And do you know when we'll see a new map?
In time for the 2022 elections.
In time for the 2022 elections. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Another question. We are moving a few people into some different wards.
A few, yes.
Are they going to be notified by mail, or are we doing anything like that?
Yes, Anne is shaking her head yes.
Thank you.
Why don't we hear, do we want to invite her to say what, so, I mean, should we say out loud? So,
Yeah, if you could step forward and just say what the procedure, what people should expect to see if their wards are changing, please.
well, if we don't talk about it here, you know what's going to happen, right? People, so thank you for.
Those people that are going to be affected will be receiving a letter with their new ward and district and area that they go to vote.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the ordinance to amend Chapter 1.12 of the City of Ripon Municipal Code, dividing the City of Ripon into wards, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is approved. And along the same lines, next item is ordinance to amend Chapter 1.12.010, aldermanic and supervisory districts of the municipal code. Basically the same as the last item, just more detail.
Motion approved.
Been moved by Paige, seconded by David. Any questions or comments on this item? Hearing none.
Well, I do
Go
just
ahead.
want to say, I did not necessarily appreciate being laughed at for asking about clarification. I think that right now, elections really are under the microscope as, I have all the utmost confidence. I have our local election officials are top-notch. And so if people are looking at this and they're thinking, oh no, where am I going to be in their ward? They know that they will be notified. We know that a map will be coming out well before the election. And so again, I'm very proud of our local city and county clerks. And I think it's important that we continue to honor the professionalism and treat it with the respect that it deserves.
I agree with you 100%.
Thanks.
Any questions or comments on this? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the ordinance to amend chapter 1.12.010, aldermanic and supervisory districts of the municipal code, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is approved. And I would also like to mirror Jolene's comments to thank Ann and all the election staff and officials. You do a wonderful job. All right, moving on to project updates and staff reports. Let's go around the room. Public Works? I'm good. Water? EMS? Police? Ann? Adam?
I apologize for laughing. I'm laughing at Ann for having to walk up and talk. And I know she hates doing it. That's what I was laughing about. So I apologize. I just, yeah.
We knew that.
So in your packet, I did provide you a copy of a resolution from Fond du Lac County. So you may be aware of some of the sales tax revenues that the county has implemented for Mercury Marine. That has been extended. They have formulated a revenue sharing program. So you can see the city of Ripon's allocation based on that formula. Next year, we will receive $51,333 from Fond du Lac County. It'll come in March or so. So we'll discuss options for that, but that is a big shout out to the Fond du Lac County Board and the county executive for taking that sales tax money and providing it back to communities to use for projects, priorities. So we will work through that, but wanted to recognize that. We were notified of that last week. So thank you to Fond du Lac County. Storm funding. In there, so we did receive $22,965 in a catastrophic storm grant. So that's less than the $50,000 requested because the funding of the formula for that program at the state is it's based on having basically 2 or 3 storms maybe a year, and the state of Wisconsin is experiencing different storms and is underfunded. So they have about $100,000 available. They are going back to the state legislature and joint finance to try to get full damages funded. So our portion of what was allocated of the $100-some thousand was $22,000. We hope that they come through with the remaining balance to make us whole at $50,000. The Wisconsin Disaster Fund, we are also working through storm damage. The contractors are still in town removing trees and stump grinding. So the Disaster Fund will offset some of the costs as well. Hopefully tomorrow I will be submitting an application for about $1.2 million to the Neighborhood Investment Fund program through the Department of Administration for the Senior Center and Trailhead project. Those are ARPA funds designed for shovel-ready projects. We hope that, quite frankly, if we receive that, we will get the majority, if not all, of the senior center and trails and everything paid for. It's a great opportunity at the right time. So we're submitting that. Beyond that, working on taxi rideshare stuff, which is a riot, and a couple other things in there. If you have any questions, let me know. And that's it.
All right, thank you.
Here. Here's a question for Mike regarding leaf pickup. I know you guys are gonna start getting ready to start switching vehicles over. How long do you anticipate to continue to pick up leaves as they just really started coming down pretty good the last week?
So it'll be the 3rd Friday of November, which is next Friday. So what they need to do is get their leaves to the curb by Monday morning, whatever's out there, and get them down so we can get them picked up. You need to start to convert. Again, those trucks are not dedicated to leaves. Those are our plow trucks, and safety for the community is more important than leaves. So we will do what we can to get everybody picked up, but yet get those trucks converted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. All right. I have no appointments tonight. I would just like to tell everyone in the public watching at home that please be respectful to each other. We may disagree with each other and sometimes vehemently, but be respectful about it. Keep it civil. Have a good conversation, but be friendly. Otherwise, be safe, healthy, and be respectful. Any comments or future agenda item suggestions from the council? Hearing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved by Paige, seconded by David. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:52.
And Troy Farrell's buildings,
Yeah.
that we're gonna trim it down, get a flat surface, and concrete it in for a service for people that have picnic tables, whatever out there.
So not exclusively for these people, but
It will be exclusively,
Okay.
it should be, there'll be a fence around there, but
I got it.
in the front, there has to have a handicap way
access.
to get into it, so
All right.
we're doing as best we can. We hope that, you know, we don't.
Sometimes it's scary when you put access like that to
Yeah, well,
everybody, so.
Yeah, you know, the big item we have is we don't want people in there partying
Right.
at night because the condo owners will be right next door, that type of thing.
Noisy.
But any other questions on that? Like you said, we're gonna have the garages coming off of Ransom Street on the 20 parking lots up above. So nobody has to walk out in snow, water, rain, anything else. We go right in.
So will you have enough parking in there to do public parking? Or
No,
will it just
no,
cover your
that's
people?
just for the condos, just
Okay.
for the condos.
I was just curious.
No.
We do need some parking downtown.
Well, actually, if you want to get on that story, nobody's worked on a map series to go and show new people in the town where they can park. The parking lots are all behind, but nobody knows how to get to them.
No, the
So the Main
graphics are
Street,
missing.
I mean,
They're also redoing the parking, like behind the one off of Ransom. They're now redoing, they're making more permit parking.
Oh, behind barrels? Oh.
Behind us and everything, because they got new signs, they put new posts and they're gonna be in. The guy was telling my wife that they're going to be redoing a bunch of them.
So there you go. It has not been political theater tonight in any way, shape, or form. That's for sure. The council meeting adjourning now for their regular broadcast. Completely adjourned. I can tell you this. We have had an incredible education. And I don't know what happened there, but somehow I got cut off. But I can tell you this much. It has been an incredible, absolutely unbelievable night tonight with the members of the public who are part of our community, who speak to us regularly, who we've had on the show. And we are going to connect now with the man who spoke up, the most vocal man in the room tonight, Rob Wichow, to get some final closing thoughts now with Rob. Rob, you were in the room tonight. You're live on the air. Give us a sense of what it felt to be right there in the moment.
Before I do that, hi everyone. Thanks for listening, tuning in. Just keep supporting and keep backing us. And and me, if that makes it any better. But and tell Maureen happy birthday tomorrow. But your question is how I felt.
Yes.
I was just bringing a fight to a fight that needed to be fought.
What would you consider to be the highlight of the evening for you in that room?
The fact that I could see and watch every one of them keep adjusting in their seats. All their eyes were glued on me. I had captivated audience, and they were not doodling. They were not sighing. They were even hanging on me for entertainment. And what is he going to say or do next?
Yeah, you got the gavel, Rob. You actually got the gavel.
I got the gavel. I got the gavel on the podium and from the back room.
Unreal. Rob, I got
How many people stand up in a meeting? I don't know this. I'm new to all this. How many people get a gavel? Well, actually, how many people are a real Slim Shady and please stand up from the back and starts spewing? I couldn't take it anymore.
I don't think I've ever witnessed a time when somebody was allowed more time after the gong went off. You were told to sit down and sit in your place, but you were right there again.
But I kept going. And I lit that up when I said a $350,000 cookie.
Oh my goodness.
Developer incentive?
Maybe a civil audit in Ripon's future, perhaps.
Oh, I got it on good source that the attorney did not like to hear me say that.
I'm certain that nobody did. 100s in the chat room for our patriot Rob, Ripon Rabbit Rob, who stood up to the tyranny and stood up and faced the council when, unfortunately, nobody else really could, because it was so poorly announced that this meeting actually was taking place.
Look at how many individuals on that council were double teaming me. And I took every one of them face on.
Right.
And that was all off the cuff. I loved it. I'm like, you want to get in an argument and a fight with me? Now you're on my level.
Well, you have.
Now you want to engage me? Now I got you on my level. And I showed their true colors right there.
It is going to be interesting in the weeks and days ahead when it regards an audit, perhaps a civil audit of the actual budget that was approved tonight. So many unanswered questions, although they tried so hard to actually answer your questions.
When you have 1,085% increase on something, I mean, we had at least 2 or 3 question what I was saying, going, wait a minute, because how do you get through a 130-page budget when it's posted days before, but they have such transparency? They're not even reading it themselves. They did not take the time over the weekend to look at it. And I say you and I, AJ, because you got to I take my top hats off to you, as you always say. You're the one that fueled me and gave me a lot of ammunition. Besides me going off half-cocked,
It's important stuff.
It's you and I that are doing this.
It's important questions that have to be asked. It's the exact reason why we do these Common Sense Council broadcasts, because Ripon and the city of Ripon is not unlike many of your communities, wherever you may be listening from around the world. Rob, hundreds coming in from the chat room now, from My Life, Sandy B, JoJo's, Dark Wolf Sten Show. support all across the board for your efforts tonight.
I actually had fun, and I was smiling, and that pissed him off even more.
I think we definitely could sense that. My goodness, where will it go 2 weeks from now? We will have a recap on tonight, and we will recap exactly the fine points that happened tonight. Rob, I take my top hats off to you.
I just so you guys know, it went on camera for that 5-minute break or whatever. I had 3 or 4 aldermen approach me, and a member of the newspaper, and he engaged, and he made the mistake of engaging with me, and I shut him right down, and he got so flustered, and then just to rub salt in the wound, as I walked by, like, do you want a copy of what I just stated tonight?
Did you give it to him?
I did, sir.
Oh, good for you.
I did, sir.
So much to recap on tonight. Our top hats off to Ripon Rabbit Rob with 100s across the board. Rob, you're a patriot. Thank you for standing up for our freedom.
It gives me more power when I got backing like you and everybody that follows you.
Awesome.
My top hat to everybody else.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. And we cannot wait to see where this story goes next. And we'll be back.
On this.
Yeah, we're not stopping. We're going to continue on. Top hats off to you, Rob. Have a wonderful evening.
Trump train, and let's go, Brandon, and top outs to everybody else. And I look forward to the next meeting.
There you have it. Straight live from Ripon, Wisconsin. Ripon Rabbit Rob.
One more thing. Once again, like I said, it's 245th anniversary birthday of the Marine Corps. You wish a Marine.
Tomorrow, right? Yeah, tomorrow is the 250th or 51st. It's over 200.
1775, my Marine Corps came alive.
1775, my Marine Corps came alive. 100s across the board for you, Rob, from our chat room listening worldwide tonight. I take my top hats off to you, and I thank you.
I will definitely be in a VIP tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get the personal insight you have to share. You have a good night, Rob.
You too, and God bless all.
God bless all. Hoorah. From former Marine Rob Wichow, who stood up and took on this council tonight. I hope you learned a little something. I hope you understood a little bit about how local city politics works, and that you can pay attention to exactly what's happening in your city, as we will return with these broadcasts every second Tuesday and fourth Monday of the month. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. Until we meet again, I'm AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night. just to let you know, we will be editing tonight's broadcast and bringing you a recap of the finer points of the evening and the most important points made tonight. So stay tuned for further updates regarding our Common Sense Council